Major, what about my code name?
You mean Naked Snake?
Yeah, what does it mean?
It's because snakes slither through the grass unnoticed to those around them.
No, I mean the naked part.
It means without embellishment, devoid of a specified quality. In other words, basic.
Why's that my code name?
I explained that the virtuous mission is designed to test the effectiveness of Fox, right?
Right.
And the procedure used for this mission will represent the modus operandi of Fox for future missions. In other words...
The essence of Fox. Naked and pure.
Exactly. And there's the fact that you went in practically naked. No weapons, no equipment.
I see. Means more than I realized.
Yes, clever, isn't it? But don't leave yourself naked to the enemy.
Roger that.
Say, Snake, about that helmet and oxygen mask you took off right after you parachuted in?
Oh, those? Those are the helmet assembly and oxygen system assembly I used to make the halo jump. The helmet is fitted with a bayonet fastener that attaches to the oxygen mask. It's also got earphones and a boom mic.
I'm not interested in all that stuff.
So why did you bring it up?
It reminds me of something.
Reminds you of something?
Yeah.
The mask?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is, and I can't stop thinking about it.
That's what you've been thinking about?
Yeah, every time I'm about to remember it, it slips away from me again. Don't you just hate that?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've seen it somewhere before. Any ideas?
How would I...
That's it!
What?
The fly!
The fly?
Yeah, it finally came to me. You look just like him. Oh, I feel better.
The fly?
From the movie, The Fly? You've never seen it?
No.
Jeez, where have you been? It's about this scientist who's conducting teleportation experiments when he gets mixed up with a fly and ends up with the fly's head attached to his body.
Never heard of it.
That's too bad. It's a good movie.
Major.
What is it?
It's about your code name.
Major Tom?
Yeah, where'd you get that name?
From a tunnel.
A tunnel?
That's right. Snake, have you seen the movie The Great Escape?
No.
It's a movie about a determined group of Allied POWs trapped in a German POW camp who plan an escape. The POWs dig 3 tunnels for their escape. They named them Dick, Harry, and Tom.
I see. So Tom was an escape tunnel. Did they make it?
Out of the camp? Of course. One of the tunnels was even discovered before it was finished, but eventually they do make it out.
I get it now. So Tom was the tunnel they used to escape.
Yes, that's right.
What is it?
Well, actually, I'm not sure if I remember correctly.
Major.
Oh, it's all right. It's, Tom, Snake. Tom is the escape tunnel. Yes, no question about it.
Paramedic. You said you like movies, right?
I love him.
About the Major's code name.
Major Tom?
Yeah. He sounded like he wasn't sure whether or not Tom was the name of the tunnel that worked in The Great Escape.
So I heard.
So was it?
Was it what?
Was Tom really the name of the tunnel that worked?
Right.
So it was Tom.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Why don't you know?
Why should I know?
You watch a lot of movies, don't you?
Yeah.
But you've never seen The Great Escape.
No.
Why not?
It didn't look interesting.
You don't watch movies that don't look interesting?
That's right.
And yet you've seen The Fly.
The Fly looked interesting, and it was. Something wrong.
Nothing. Tell me, what other kind of movies do you like?
Let's see. There's the Quartermass Experiment, and It Conquered the World, and Earth versus the Spider. Oh, and Mondo Kane. Did I say something weird?
Forget it. Major, what kind of place is this secret design bureau that Sokolov is heading?
The Soviets have a number of secret design bureaus like this one, each engaged in cutting-edge research. OKB-1, the bureau where the Voskhod spacecraft was developed and which plays a leading role in the Soviet space program, is one of those installations. Most of them are located in secret cities, built in isolated areas, and we don't even know their exact locations, much less the nature of their research. And Sokolov's OKB-754 is the most secret bureau of them all. The intelligence communities of the West have tried time and again to find out what they're working on, but they've failed consistently.
So you have absolutely no idea what Sokolov is developing?
We've got nothing.
Then how did you get the information for this mission? It can't have been from Sokolov.
From the boss.
The boss?
That's right. She has her own intelligence channels that she cultivated during the last war. She shared what she learned with us. That we were able to get the green light for this mission at all is thanks to her pull with the powers that be at the CIA. In other words, this mission would never have come together without the boss's help in a number of respects.
Major, didn't you say that the boss was in the SAS with you?
Yes, we formed the 22nd SAS Regiment together. When the SAS, the British Special Air Service, was first established, they invited the boss on board as a special advisor. In fact, you might say it was the boss who put together Rayforce and L Detachment, which laid the groundwork for today's SAS. You won't find her name in the history books, but her contributions were many and great.
Yeah, the real heroes are never made public.
Not in our line of work, anyway. The dummy run on Heliopolis and the nighttime raids on German air bases in North Africa were her idea as well. Yes, she was always one step ahead of the rest of us, both in thought and action. It's true what they say. Who dares wins.
The motto of the SAS.
Precisely. The motto itself is a tribute to her service. Needless to say, the SAS has become a model for special forces units all over the world. In that sense, the boss really is the mother of special forces.
There is one weapon greater than any other in battle. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
What?
Do we have to go through this again?
Yes.
Will. An unflinching will to survive no matter what.
Exactly. The will to carry out your mission and return home alive will see you through even the most desperate of situations. It's the most potent weapon in your arsenal. Don't forget that, no matter what. In my day, I did my share of sneaking into enemy territory.
You mean since World War II?
Yeah, mostly snatch missions.
Snatch mission. That's where you abduct an enemy officer without killing him, right?
Right. That's where I got the original idea for CQC. In a snatch mission, taking out the target's escorts by shooting them is not an option. If the enemy hears the gunshot, they'll know there's an intruder and tighten security. And the target will sense danger and try to get away.
You needed a way to take out the guards and secure the target without making a sound.
That was the idea. The CQC style that you and I developed is based on the techniques I cultivated during those missions. So...
First time I've heard this.
Huh?
You've never told me any of this before.
I didn't?
No. Why? Why didn't you tell me this before? Why now?
I have my reasons.
Snake,
What?
are you smoking a cigarette?
Nope.
Yes, you are.
It's not a cigarette. It's a cigar.
Same thing.
Not at all. In fact, there's a world of difference. There's nothing quite like the rich smell and mellow flavor of a cigar. And that thick, luxurious smoke is almost sensual when it...
Yeah, whatever. You know something?
Probably not, but I don't want to hear it.
Well, you don't have a choice. Cigarettes are bad for you.
It's not a cigarette. It's a...
Quiet, you. Smoking is bad for you. In a recent study, scientists found that tobacco smoke is full of carcinogenic substances, like nitrosamines. You know what that means? It means you're going to give yourself lung cancer if you keep on smoking.
But that's just what some scientists think, right?
Oh, give me a break.
I heard it was just a bunch of hoo-ha.
Do you really believe that?
Sure.
God, you're gullible. You ought to read this year's report from the Surgeon General. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that smoking causes lung cancer. Pretty soon the whole world will know that smoking is bad for you. Better quit now before it's too late.
But...
And don't tell me cigar smoke is harmless because it doesn't go down into your lungs. It just means the cancer shows up in a different place. Got it?
Yeah.
Are you smoking a cigar?
Uh-huh.
I don't approve of you smoking during a mission.
Hey, you used to smoke them.
Never mind what I did.
Ugh.
But that being said, cigars can be useful in a number of different ways, like getting rid of leeches.
Did you say leeches?
Yes. If a leech clamps onto you, try pressing the lit end of a cigar into it. The leech should cringe and detach itself from you. If you try to yank it off by yourself, you run the risk of it leaving its teeth inside you. With the cigar method, you won't have that problem.
Fascinating.
And unlike a cigarette, a cigar burns slowly, so you can use it in place of a torch in dark places.
I never knew a cigar had so many different uses.
Now you know, but quit smoking them during the mission. Hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Major, tell me about Sokolov's past work.
I assume you already know that Sokolov was the developer of the multi-engine cluster. The multi-engine cluster is exactly that, a system for fitting a single rocket with multiple engines. The Vostok rocket, for instance, had 32 engines. With the technology they had, it was difficult for the Soviets to develop large engines with massive thrust. So instead, they decided to focus on using multiple smaller engines to achieve the desired thrust. With this method, though, maintaining the fuel balance between the various engines was a major problem. Sokolov was the man who provided the solution.
And that's what earned him the job as the head of the design bureau?
Apparently so.
So this secret weapon is some kind of ballistic device?
Well, that's my best guess. We don't know for sure, but...
You'll find out as soon as I get Sokolov out of here.
I'm counting on you.
Major, tell me a little bit more about the space race.
In 1957, the Soviet Union succeeded in launching their first artificial satellite, Sputnik, into orbit. Having been beaten to the chase by the Soviets, the US government accelerated its own space program in an effort to catch up. The following year, the space development programs of the various service branches were united to form the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. That same year, the Mercury program was launched with the goal of putting a man into space. 7 candidates were chosen from the military as the first astronauts. These were the men with the right stuff. But as you know, it was a Soviet cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin, who made the first successful manned spaceflight 3 years ago. NASA's first successful ballistic flight came 1 month after Gagarin's mission, with the Freedom 7 carrying Alan Shepard into space. After that, with America still lagging behind the Soviets in orbital flight, President Kennedy made a momentous decision. That America would put a man on the moon before the end of the decade.
Yeah, I heard that speech, but a lot of guys I knew weren't real happy about it. They said no one was going to make them go on a mission to blow up some damn moon base.
But rocket research and missile research are closely related. Imagine, if you will, a Soviet Union able to send wave after wave of nuclear missiles raining down on Washington from a base on the surface of the moon. Even if that's still a long way from reality, if we lose the initiative, we may never get it back. We're left with no choice but to keep moving forward one step at a time. The Gemini program, launched 2 years ago, represents the initial step towards establishing a moon base. And yet, I don't want to call President Kennedy a liar, but I simply can't imagine that in 6 years man will have reached the moon.
I don't know. I never even thought we'd make it up into space. I guess it all depends on whether you have the will to make it happen.
Perhaps you're right.
Major, you said the enemy was KGB, right?
I did.
What unit are they from? The 6th Directorate?
No, the 9th Directorate.
The 9th?
Yes.
But I thought that was...
Exactly. It's the unit that protects the Kremlin and provides bodyguards for high-level VIPs.
But they're assigned to protect party and government figures. I thought that only meant high-ranking officials and their families. And now they're being sent out to stand watch over a field exercise?
That's the idea.
What's really going on?
I don't know. What I do know is that the director of the 9th Directorate is a well-known protege of Khrushchev. The Premier may have wanted to assign this mission to someone he knew he could trust.
So he can't trust any other units?
Ever since the withdrawal from Cuba, Khrushchev's position has been getting weaker day by day. This secret test is an act of desperation by a cornered man. If nothing else, the completion of Sokolov's new weapon in this test should help re-establish Khrushchev's authority in Moscow.
So what you're saying is, there's also a good chance that whoever doesn't want to see that happen is going to try and interfere.
Most likely, Khrushchev must have anticipated this and sent his most loyal unit, his trump card, to make sure that all goes well. Snake, stay alert. The KGB and GRU both have their sights set on Sokolov. GRU is a military espionage outfit, the intelligence wing of the Soviet Defense Ministry's General Staff Office. It competes with the KGB, which is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the two are always watching each other.
Never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing.
Exactly. Now, added to that rivalry, there's a vicious power struggle going on between the Khrushchev faction and the anti-Khrushchev faction.
So Khrushchev is using the KGB, and Volgin and the anti-Khrushchev forces are using the GRU?
That's the idea. The two factions are fighting over Sokolov. We're in an extremely dangerous situation here.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Get Sokolov out of there safely. He must not be turned over to the KGB or to the GRU. Sokolov took off in the direction of the rope bridge. Get after him. Hurry!
Major, have you been able to contact the boss?
No.
You really think it's bad reception?
We're looking into it.
Major.
Snake, you've got more important things to worry about than contacting the boss. Right now, Sokolov is out there wandering around the jungle alone. What are you going to do if he gets caught by the enemy? We're still looking into why we lost contact with the boss. I'll let you know as soon as we find anything out. In the meantime, it's your job to find Sokolov and get him to safety. Got it?
Major, do you know anything about this GRU colonel Sokolov was talking about?
Yes.
Who is he?
A most dangerous man indeed. His name is Yevgeny Borisovich Volgin. His code name in the West is Thunderbolt. He's gained a reputation as the most brutal and cold-blooded of the Soviet spy masters. During the war, Volgin was assigned to the domestic branch of the NKVD. He was stationed in the rear of the Soviet line to catch and punish any troops who tried to retreat or desert. He's also notorious for his accomplishments in anti-guerrilla operations in the Ukraine and the Baltic states. Apparently, he likes to boast that he disposed of over 100,000 anti-communists. We also know that he was instrumental in putting down the 1953 insurrection in East Germany and the 1956 uprising in Hungary. He is truly a fearsome man. There's no telling what he might be plotting. Be careful.
I will. Major, what's this Grand Design Bureau Sokolov was talking about?
OKB 812. It's the same type of top-secret facility as Sokolov's own OKB 754. The director is a man by the name of Alexander Leonovich Granin. He's Sokolov's arch-rival, and the two have competed fiercely against each other since the days of the war. To hear Sokolov tell it, though, the rivalry was really all in Granin's head. In any case, Granin seems to harbor an unusually intense hatred for Sokolov. Knowing that Sokolov was protected under the aegis of Khrushchev, Granin threw in his lot with Volgin, the vanguard of the anti-Khrushchev movement. Apparently, Granin meant to use the funds provided by these opposition forces in order to defeat his old foe. Volgin, for his part, was intrigued by the possibility of using the high-tech weapons Granin created in the fight against Khrushchev. Thus, the two formed an alliance, and Volgin took the Granin Design Bureau under his control.
But now Volgin's got his sights set on Sokolov.
Yes, it would seem that he and Granin aren't getting along so well after all. By the way, Snake, what were you doing back there?
Back where?
You were giving some kind of advice to a GRU commander, weren't you?
Yeah.
He's your enemy. What the hell were you thinking?
Really? What was all that about doing the thing with your hand on the first round or whatever?
Whenever he put a new clip in his gun, he'd always load the first round by hand, whether there was a round left in the chamber or not. It's a technique they teach in the Middle East. By making sure there's always a round in the chamber, you eliminate the risk of pulling the trigger with nothing to fire. He must have heard about it from someone or read it somewhere. In any case, he probably wanted to try it out for himself. And he was obviously motivated by vanity to show off his new technique. That's when you make mistakes. The battlefield is an unforgiving place. The only techniques you can rely on are the ones you've mastered through experience and practice.
Uh-huh. And what were you saying about him being more suited to revolvers?
When he fired, he was bending his elbow sharply to avoid the recoil. It looked like he wasn't aware he was doing it, but that habit can be either a fatal flaw or a gift.
What do you mean?
Automatic weapons use recoil to operate, so if you don't let the recoil hit you, it interferes with the operating cycle of the gun. Basically, he shouldn't be trying to avoid the impact like that. But with a revolver, there's no need to let the recoil hit you. Just the opposite. Avoiding the recoil lets you reduce the strain on your hand and arm. That kid might just be handy with a high-caliber revolver.
Handy? Are you listening to yourself?
What do you mean?
He's the enemy. Why are you giving him advice? Snake.
I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't help but point it out to him.
Snake, are you all right?
Yeah. Major.
Yes?
I was just wondering, why do they call you Zero?
What do you mean?
We go back a long ways, but I just realized I never asked you why you're called Zero.
You want to know where it comes from?
Yeah, if that's all right.
It's a bit nostalgic, really.
Nostalgic?
The first British intelligence outfit was established in 1909. The head of the Foreign Intelligence Division was a man named Mansfield George Smith Cumming. He was referred to simply as C after the first letter of his last name. Since then, out of respect for Cumming, the heads of the SIS have traditionally taken the name of C.
And James Bond's boss is called M.
That's right. I myself was once known as O.
And that's where Zero comes from?
Precisely. In another sense, though, it signifies a ghost, one whose true identity must remain a mystery, the primogenitor of the solo sneaking operation.
Is that so? Tell me something, Sigint.
What's that?
What does Sigint mean, anyway?
It's short for signal intelligence.
Signal intelligence?
The part of intelligence that deals with electronic information. Things like intercepting and analyzing electronic communications, determining enemy force strength and positioning from radar emissions and radio chatter. You get the idea. Code breaking is considered part of SIGINT as well. 40 years from now, we'll be in the age of electronic warfare. It won't be long before information replaces firepower as the most valuable commodity on the battlefield.
So you're saying they won't need guys like me anymore?
Sorry to break it to you, but that's not gonna happen. No matter how advanced our technology gets, there's still no substitute for human beings. Anyway, the Major is a man of foresight. He knew the electronic age was coming, and so he called out to me.
And you responded?
Well, I didn't have any place else to go.
You couldn't find a job?
Nope. None of the places where they do this kind of high-tech research would even let me in the door.
Why not? I know you've got social problems, but...
Come again?
Nothing. I mean, someone with your talent ought to be able to...
Yeah, well, maybe it has something to do with the fact that I'm black. The Major, though, he doesn't care about what color you are. I've never met anyone like him before. He's different, you know?
Oh, yeah, I know.
I don't think racism's going to go away even in the 21st century. But I want to work with computers and use them to bring people closer together. In the digital world, it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, American or Russian or whatever. Everybody's going to be the same. That's what I think.
Major, what's this temptation Eva was talking about?
In the Old Testament of the Bible, Eve was seduced by a snake into tasting the fruit of knowledge. By eating the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve disobeyed God's command and were cast out from the Garden of Eden. Thus, it was the snake who led mankind into original sin.
Come to think of it, I did break a rib in the Virtuous mission. Maybe that's where Eva came from.
But the one who tempted Adam into eating the forbidden fruit was Eve. You may be working together, but she's still a KGB operative. Don't let your guard down.
I don't intend to.
Sounds like the Cobra unit's members' names came from the specific emotions they each carry into battle.
Emotions?
Yeah. For unbearable torment, the pain. For true oblivion, the end. For infinite rage, the fury. For absolute terror, the fear. And for unsurpassed bliss, the joy.
The joy?
It's another name for the boss, because of the joy she feels in battle, I suppose.
Ah.
During the war, she had a partner named the Sorrow. Sorrow and joy. They say there couldn't have been a more perfect pair. Ah, you're wearing the mask. I made it myself. Pretty good work, don't you think? A while back, they were planning to disguise someone as this one GRU officer and send him in to steal some secret documents. I created the mask for that operation. But then the mission ended up being canceled. And then the major came and told me to throw it out. Can you believe that guy?
But you didn't throw it out.
Are you kidding? Tossing a superior quality product like that into the garbage without using it will be an insult to science. So I decided to sneak it into your gear.
Okay, but is it really that big of a deal?
Of course it is.
What's so great about it?
Everything. But if I had to pick one reason, I'd have to say it's because it's the first mask ever that can blink its eyes.
What about the lips?
What's that?
Can it open its mouth?
That's a good one, Snake. You crazy, man.
I'm serious.
Are you even listening to me, Snake? Where's your common sense? Damn.
Sorry?
Snake, have you heard about the massacre that happened in the forest near the village of Gnezdovo?
The Katyn Forest Massacre, right?
During World War II, the German army came upon the bodies of 4,000 dead Polish in the forest of Katyn.
Yeah, Germany blamed the Soviet Union, but the Soviet Union denied it, blaming Germany in return.
The truth is that Stalin ordered the NKVD to carry out the killings. And it's not just Katyn. In places like Western Ukraine and Belarus, there must have been at least 20,000 Poles in the prison camps.
Why are you telling me this?
Volgin was one of the people responsible. He was one of the vicious leaders behind it.
Volgin was?
He blamed it on a prisoner revolt to allay any fears, and requested they be put to death. I've heard that Volgin even removed the blindfolds from each prisoner before he beat them to death.
I knew he wasn't all there in the head, but this...
Not someone you could be friends with.
By the way, Snake,
What?
you know the Ocelot unit commander?
Ocelot?
Yeah, that's not his real name, is it?
I wouldn't think so.
Is it a code name?
You mean like Snake?
Yeah.
Maybe. Why? Is that strange?
No, I was just wondering why he's called Ocelot.
Why's that?
Well, I looked it up, and it turns out the ocelot is a wild cat whose habitat stretches from the southern U.S. down to northern Argentina. They live in a variety of different environments, from tropical rainforests to savannas. The biggest ones can grow up to 1 meter in length. They're normally solitary creatures, and their diet consists mainly of small animals and fish. During the day, they sleep up in the trees, but at night...
Yeah, paramedic.
Oh, right. So the ocelot is an animal that lives on the American continent. But then I wondered, why would a Soviet officer be using the name of an American wildcat?
Good question. Maybe it's because he's fast and agile like an ocelot.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But why'd you go to all the trouble of looking it up?
Because I was curious. Was it helpful?
Sure. Eva, I wanted to ask you about Ocelot.
Yeah, I know. He's pretty infatuated with you, isn't he?
That's not what I meant. Aren't the Ocelots an elite unit?
Yeah.
So how'd he get to be their commander? He can't be any older than 18 or 19. I can't believe he's already a major.
I heard from the colonel that he's been given special treatment.
Special treatment?
Yeah, he's the son of some legendary hero or something.
No wonder he seems to have the right stuff. So who is this legendary hero anyway?
Beats me. The colonel never told me. All I heard was that his mother was supposedly shot in the gut during battle, and that he was born right there with bullets whizzing past them.
A pregnant woman in the middle of a battle?
That's what I heard. They say that when they stitched her up, the scar was shaped like a snake.
Well, that's battlefield medicine for you. What about his father, this legendary hero?
He didn't tell me. I don't think Ocelot's ever met his parents.
Are they dead?
Maybe, I don't know. There were a lot of MIAs back then, during the last days of the war. Ocelot probably would have ended up the same way. But he was taken in and raised by Gru and Volgan.
Because he was special.
That's my guess.
Major, why did the pain explode like that?
It's part of their legend.
Legend?
The legend of the Cobra unit. I'll let Sigint explain. Sigint?
Yeah, that's a microbomb.
A microbomb?
Yep. During World War II, the Cobra unit was used for the nastiest kinds of wet works, the kind that could never be let out into the open. Their missions were so top secret that not only were they forbidden to be taken prisoner, they couldn't even leave their corpse behind. Because of this, or so the legend goes, they carried a microbomb with them on their missions in case they needed to commit suicide. I always thought it was just a rumor. I never expected it would turn out to be true. But why would they be carrying bombs this time around? It's not like they're in hostile territory.
Maybe they're ready to die.
Ready to die?
Yeah. They've got no unit to go back to. Not even a country.
So they've got no place to die except the battlefield, huh?
Yeah. No turning back for them. I wonder if the boss feels the same.
Snake, you caught a Tsuchinoko.
What? Is it true, Snake?
Yeah.
Way to go, my man! You really are the boss's apprentice.
Yes, it looks like sending you in was worth it after all. Hurry up and finish your mission and then bring it back to us. Under no circumstances are you to eat it, is that clear?
You say Granin was involved in the development of the SS-1C. The SS-1C is the Soviets' newest short-range tactical ballistic missile. Based on what Western intel has been able to gather, it's capable of being launched from a mobile platform.
A mobile platform?
Yeah. It's a transport vehicle that functions as an erector and a launcher. It can travel on roads, then erect and launch a missile from any location. Of course, in addition to conventional explosives, the missiles could also be fitted with chemical or even nuclear warheads.
A nuclear missile that can be launched from any location.
I'll bet it wasn't the missile itself that Granin helped develop. More likely, it was the mobile platform. From what I've heard, the SS-1C is set for actual deployment as early as next year. That's bound to send a chill down NATO's spine.
Sigint, Granin said something about putting legs on a tank. Do you know what he was talking about?
If you ask me, it's gotta be a joke. Not only is making a tank walk on two legs a technical nightmare, but there's no point in making a walking tank to begin with. Putting legs on a tank would raise its clearance, increasing its frontal projection area. It'd also be less stable. Suppose the legs help the tank travel on bad roads. I don't see the logic in that. Isn't that what treads are for? I mean, anybody who'd seriously consider making a thing like that has got to be a wacko. Come to think of it, there was a guy in the States who wrote a paper on that subject. What was his name? Emerson? Heinrich? Something like that. I don't really remember. Of course, no one took that seriously.
Eva.
Hmm?
There's a house here in the middle of the woods.
So there is.
It looks like a cottage, but what is it?
It really was a cottage once. It was originally the dacha of a high-ranking official. Now it's being used as a relay station. There should be a supply of ammo and rations. I also heard they put an M63 light machine gun in there. But watch out. There's supposed to be a unit posted in there.
Paramedic, I caught a parrot.
What kind of parrot?
It's green all over with a large beak.
Then it's probably an Alexandrine parakeet. It's sometimes also called the Alexandrine parrot. The Alexandrine parakeet originally comes from Indochina and is distinguished by its green body and red beak. It's very talkative and makes a good pet. But it's strange. The guide doesn't say anything about there being Alexandrine parakeets in that area. I'm thinking it must be someone's pet that got away. Snake.
What?
Don't even think about it. Eating a cute little bird like that.
But I didn't say.
Just don't.
Major, I saw that Tatiana woman again.
We've been analyzing our data, but so far we've been unable to find anyone matching that description. Maybe her posting was so obscure that we simply overlooked it.
Or maybe she's such a VIP that all the data on her has been classified.
That's a possibility, but I'd be tempted to go with the first explanation. We'll keep going over the data.
Thanks.
You say Grannon's shoes were rigged with a transmitter? That sounds like something the KGB's been working on lately. It's exactly like you described, a miniature transmitter that's small enough to put in a shoe.
Grannon said he got the shoes from a woman called Tatiana. You think she's a KGB spy?
Could be. Or maybe it's some kind of ploy to throw suspicion on her. Anyway, it's your job to find out.
Good point.
The name Groznygrad means the terrible fortress. And that's exactly what it is. An impregnable monster of a fortress built using Colonel Volgin's enormous fortune. In the center of the fortress is a weapons lab that acts as the nerve center of the place. In the southeast, there's a prison. In the northwest, there's an armory. And in the northeast, there's a provision storehouse. The weapons lab in the center is where Grannon, Sokolov, and their fellow scientists carry out their high-tech weapons research. The flying platform and attack chopper you saw are two of their accomplishments. And now they're about to finish the work on the Shagohod. They call it the Terrible Fortress for a reason. Snake, the enemy's attack dogs are very highly trained, so be careful.
You can tell if a dog's been highly trained or not?
I can tell.
How?
I used to have a dog.
You had a dog.
Yeah. What's so funny about it?
Nothing, it's just hard to picture you with a puppy.
Who asked you? He was really cute, but I had a hard time housebreaking him. When he finally did learn, I was so happy. I still dream about it sometimes. Those trucks you see there are used to transport materials in and out of Groznygrad. I've seen them loading the trucks full of cardboard boxes and shipping them off all over the place. Groznygrad is a gigantic fortress, so they've got to be pretty busy. Some of the men have even complained to me that they've got too much work to do to check the contents of every single box that comes through.
Eva, about this Major Rykov.
Yes?
You said he had Colonel class authorization, right?
Right.
But his rank is Major, so how can he have Colonel class authorization?
Rykov is treated as an officer of equal rank with Colonel Volgin.
Treated as the same rank?
Yeah.
Even though he's a Major?
Right.
Why?
You don't know?
No.
Even after seeing that photo?
Nope.
Has anyone ever told you you're a bit slow?
What are you talking about?
I'll leave you to think about it.
Wait a minute.
Gotta go.
What a strange coincidence, though.
Coincidence?
Well, Rykov's full name is Ivan Rydenovich Rykov.
And?
Ivan is the Russian equivalent of John, and a common nickname for John is Jack. You know, in Russian folklore, the youngest son in a family often receives the shabbiest treatment, but is actually cleverer than his brothers, and has the happiest ending of all. That son is usually named Ivan.
I don't have any brothers.
Really? I could have sworn you had several.
What?
Rykov is famous for being a glutton. I've heard he'll even stop and pick up food that's lying on the floor. But for such a pig, he's got a weak stomach, and is always running for the toilet after eating that stuff. Why don't you try giving Rykov something rotten to eat, and then waiting for him in the bathroom?
The boss gave you a gun?
Yeah. A single-action army.
For what?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, why don't you use that gun to shoot?
I can't.
Why not?
No bullets.
I see. Well, you'll be able to get some once you're outside. First, you've got to escape from that cell. There must be a way. Don't give up.
Major, I dug out the bullet the boss shot into me.
Yes?
There was a fake death pill inside.
A fake death pill?
Yeah. What does it mean?
I haven't a clue. But if it's the work of the boss, then it probably means something. Snake, you say you've discovered a transmitter?
Yeah, it was buried in a wound. I think Ocelot did it. He must be expecting me to get out of here.
Then you mustn't disappoint him.
All right.
Snake, I found some info on the guard. That guard is notorious for being hungry all the time. He's even been caught and flogged for sneaking into the mess hall at night and eating scraps. Maybe you could win him over by sharing your food. Oh, and I heard that he's particularly sympathetic to American prisoners for some reason.
Why?
Not really sure. Snake, I've got some good news.
What is it?
Volgan isn't planning to kill you. At least not for the time being.
Why?
I think he wants to make you suffer some more.
Oh, that's a relief.
Yeah. This means you'll have more of an opportunity to escape.
I was being sarcastic.
Anyway, Volgan has given orders that you're to be kept alive.
So the guard will bring me food and medical supplies, huh?
Exactly. If anything happens to you, he'll be executed by Volgan. Well, this could be useful.
Eva, what happened to Ocelot?
Can't get enough of him, huh?
He doesn't trust you.
I know. So it's me you're worried about then.
Eva!
I'm fine. I know how to handle him. Besides, I think he's got his mind set on someone else right about now.
What?
Figure it out.
What's going on? Snake! Snake!
Snake, are you okay? Snake! Snake!
Snake! Come on, say something! Snake! Snake!
Snake! Answer me! Snake! Snake!
Snake, what do you have in your hand?
A fork. Why?
A fork? What'd you do with your knife? It ain't dinner time yet.
Sigint, you have to think bigger than that. A fork's good for more than just eating dinner.
Oh yeah? Like what?
It's a weapon.
A weapon?
Yeah, I can use it with the weapon button the same way I use the survival knife. Of course, it's not going to be much use for CQC. This mission is all about procuring on site. I have to use whatever limited equipment I can find, any way I can to achieve my objective. So I have to make the most out of every item by adapting them to different situations. Take this fork, for instance. At first glance, it looks useless, but it can be an effective weapon if used the right way. You have to learn to think flexibly and see all the different possibilities.
Think flexibly, huh? Thanks for the advice, man.
No problem. And the best part is, if I use this to spear a snack, I can eat it right there without having to put it in my backpack first.
I knew it. You are using it to eat.
Eva, didn't you take a picture of me when I was about to leave the waterfall cave?
Oh, that's a button-shaped hidden camera developed by the KGB. I use it to take pictures of the fortress and the Shagohod.
That's not what I wanted to know. Why did you take a picture of me?
Because I wanted a picture of you. If I told you why, would you believe me anyway?
The Cynthia that Eva mentioned was a famous lady spy who worked for Britain during the Second World War. Her real name was Amy Elizabeth Thorpe. She was a lovely, intelligent woman, and she used those charms as a weapon to extract numerous secrets from the enemy. They say her most brilliant achievement was getting the French Vichy government's naval ciphers. But don't let yourself be taken in by Eva's charms.
I'll be careful.
I'll be your eyes. Makes me want to cry.
Why's that?
Reminds me of something a certain spy once said. His name was Oleg Penkovsky, a Western spy who worked inside GRU. He was arrested by the KGB and executed last year. They say he sent a letter to the DCI at the time saying, "I must remain on this front line in order to be your eyes and ears." His code name was Hero.
A hero whose name will never be known.
Yes. That's the world we live in.
Eva,
What's up?
about our escape plan.
Uh-huh.
How exactly are you planning to get to the lake?
What? Don't you trust me?
That's not what I meant.
Okay then, I'll explain it to you. To the north of Groznygrad, there's a forest called Lazarevo. The name Lazarevo means the lush green earth. On the other side of Lazarevo is a large forest called Zauzyorye. Zauzyorye means near the lake in Russian. The lake is just beyond Zauzyorye. And the name of that lake is Rokovoy Biereg, the Lake of Destiny.
That's where you hid the wig.
Yeah, we'll use it to make our getaway. Once we've completed our missions, that is.